Your baby will soon enter your world. Like all new moms, you have questions. How will I care for my baby? How can I give my baby the happiest, healthiest start in life? Breastfeeding is an option for new moms everywhere, but most have the same concerns you have. How will I breastfeed in front of others? What will my family think? Where will I turn for support? And how on earth will I work it into my schedule? The mothers of these babies felt the same way, but they chose to try breastfeeding. They found loving support from friends and family and from WIC. They love breastfeeding, and so do their babies. Maybe you will too. For working mom Shakira Greenwood, the choice to breastfeed was a very important one. You see, her son Zarian was premature. His size and appearance at birth reflected his special needs.
My baby was born 5 pounds, 8 ounces. He was wrinkled. He looked like an 85 or 90-year-old man. He was that wrinkled. He is 4 months and 3 weeks, and he is 16.5 pounds as of last week. He is solid as a rock. At first, all we had was a baby lying there on a pillow. That's how smart he was. Time he got the breast milk, we had an alert child, eyes wide open, kicking, twisting.
He doesn't have a problem gaining weight. He eats. He sleeps all night, and that's been a blessing. It's just like he feels so secure, especially when he comes home. He's not finicky or nothing like that. I just think breastfeeding has made him into a much stable child.
Shakira, a public health worker, knew it was crucial to continue breastfeeding Zarian even when she went back to work, which meant using a breast pump during her working hours. Fortunately, the WIC program came through with emotional and practical support.
And they taught me how to use the pump, and they still check on Zari. Even though Zari's been breastfeeding going on 5 months.
She has found that using a pump in her office during her breaks works very well for her. Now, 5 months into breastfeeding, Shakira is an old pro. She uses a breast pump at home so she can store extra milk in the freezer or refrigerator. Shakira now has tremendous support from her husband and her parents, but at first, her mother was skeptical.
I told her that he would not receive enough nutrition from the little milk that he was receiving from her. And then later on, I saw that he was gaining weight, and I said, ooh, breastfeeding is a good thing.
People are not receptive to what they don't understand. So what you should do is, the WIC program is very good on this. When my WIC consultant came out, she explained to my mom why that it was important for me to do this.
Breastfeeding, there's nothing wrong with it. It's what God meant to happen. Man has turned into something ugly, but it's something special. It's something between a mother and her child. So I don't think you should take away from it. I think we should try to add to it. Instead of being embarrassed, we need to do more things to make it where other people want to do, because it benefits their child.
As a 43-year-old single mom who goes to school and works full-time, Gail Hickman finds that breastfeeding her daughter Tova is the only alternative for her.
Your breast is a ready-to-feed container. Anywhere you are ready to feed as your baby is ready to eat.
Love you. As a waitress at a 50s-style restaurant, Gail is away from Tova 4 evenings a week. She's unable to pump at work, but that hasn't presented a problem for her.
My body has adjusted to that schedule so that I make more milk on Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays, and especially at night, than I do during the day.
Like most new moms, Gail is also on a budget.
Cost of formula is incredible. I can't imagine having to purchase that on a regular basis.
She knows Tova is getting perfectly balanced nourishment from what she eats.
Within reason, I can eat anything that I want and still lose the weight.
But Gail's reasons for breastfeeding aren't only about health.
It helps so tremendously with closeness. It gives me a bond with her that I couldn't have with bottles. She is, I think, a happier child because she breastfeeds. It's like the icing on the cake. It's a long, long day. And to have Tova and just hold her and nurse her, it's another form of saying I love you. It just feels good.
Even high school students like Sharitha Copeland find success with breastfeeding.
Before I got pregnant, I didn't know anything about breastfeeding. I didn't even know that really that was what your breasts were for. First, I thought that most of my friends would think it would be gross or whatever, but when I had the baby, a lot of them came to the hospital and they were like proud of me and stuff. And I found that a lot of them said that they would breastfeed whenever they had a baby. Breastfeeding doesn't limit your activities at school because I'm a member of the math club, science club, FCA. I'm a straight A student. And if anybody puts their mind to it and wants to do it, they can do it. I don't wear like nursing clothes or anything like that. I wear whatever the typical teenager wears. And I just pull up my shirt or whatever.
Sharitha has found support for her decision from school officials. Every day, Sharitha either pumps milk in the teacher's lounge or drives to the daycare to breastfeed her daughter Aviana. The daycare is located at Sharitha's father's church, and her mother works there. But it was the church youth director, Linda Harris, who first supported Sharitha's decision to breastfeed.
Well, when I heard that she was going to breastfeed, I really got excited. I'm like, really? I said, oh, that's great. I said, I need to talk to her and just encourage her and let her know that this is the best thing that you can do.
Center Director Mae McDaniel also supports Sharitha.
I was determined with my youngest that I was going to breastfeed, and I was discouraged even before I left the hospital that wasn't the best thing to do. After watching some of my friends like Linda and even watching Sharitha, I know there's something that I missed out on as a mom. I can't go back and recapture it, so I do my best to support any mother that decides to breastfeed.
But Sharitha's most enthusiastic and loving support comes from her parents.
Well, my mom, she was very proud of me because she thought I was making a responsible decision. And my dad was also.
People today confuse what's natural as being humiliating and embarrassing. Breastfeeding is a natural thing. I mean, that's the whole purpose of the breast. It was to feed babies, you know. And so it's a natural thing. So it's not something someone should be embarrassed by or humiliated by. There is a way to do it discreetly to where it's not noticeable and yet be able to take care of the child at the same time. And I think a lot of mothers miss that opportunity to form that bond with their children by not breastfeeding.
I'm proud of myself. I'm glad I did it.
When Beverly Sullivan had her first child 9 years ago, she didn't know anything about breastfeeding. But when she was expecting Jennifer, she learned about the health benefits of breastfeeding from WIC. She wanted to try it because her son had been so sick when he was an infant.
I thought of feeding my first one and breastfeeding her, there's a tremendous difference. It makes me feel like I'm giving her a whole lot more than just sticking a bottle in her mouth, because I know all the vitamins and the nourishment that I give her, it's making her a whole lot better.
When Beverly first started thinking about breastfeeding Jennifer, her biggest concern was embarrassment. She turned to her mother.
She wanted to know how I felt about her breastfeeding. I told her, I said, well, you're very timid. I said, I don't think you could do it. I said, but now if you want to, I'm behind you.
When I got to talking to her and my husband about it, you know, they were like, do it, you know, if that's what you want to do it. And I was like, yeah, but, you know, I'm scared of being around the family and them talking about me. And I'm just, then she said, no, she said, if I knew something about breastfeeding, I would have done it.
When I had mine, I wish someone had told me about breastfeeding. I think that it would have made a world of difference in my children's lives. I think they would have been a whole lot healthier. And I'm close to my children, but I think that would have made me even closer. And I just wish that someone had told me, but no one did.
Beverly soon got over her shyness about breastfeeding when she learned that she could breastfeed discreetly even in public.
There is ways that you can do it without anybody knowing what you're doing. And it's not embarrassing. I mean, sure, some people are gonna stare, but they're just gonna have to realize that this is for your child.
She is such a happy little girl. And I have a feeling that it is because she is being a breastfed baby.
It's nothing hard about it. It's more easier to me to breastfeed and everything than it was with my first one. If I would have known how breastfeeding was then, I would have done it then. And if I ever have another one, it'll be breastfed, because it's wonderful. I wouldn't give nothing for it.
Jehi Rancourt has breastfed all of her children. Today, they range in age from 7 months to 13 years.
For me, at first, it was when I was immature with my first daughter, I was embarrassed. And I think it's natural. But you go a little bit beyond, because you begin to realize the association of your body to the nurturing relations is no longer any type of embarrassment. I remember with my oldest daughter, I breastfeed only for 4 months. I was a college student, and so I remember sterilizing those bottles and just the formula, how much it cost. But for me, it's so convenient. A lot of times people think the other way around. They think that breastfeeding would be more inconvenient. But for me, I mean, you don't have to spend money on formula. You don't have to clean the bottles.
Although Jehi had a lot of experience, breastfeeding her youngest daughter presented some challenges.
My youngest one had a jaundice, and when she had jaundice, it was really hard because I had to nurse so often. We had to try to get her to drink more. It would have been easier for us to give her bottle, but because I knew the nursing was such a precious thing for me and my daughter, so I continued on during her sickness, and she came through other side. And I remember during that time that I had a big part in it to make her well. That's amazing, I think.
Jehi appreciated the loving support she found with the WIC program.
I was really encouraged. I couldn't believe. During that time, I remember having a little bit of trouble with a baby latching on, and I wasn't sure those, even on my fourth child, I had to have a support, and the WIC was so great.
Okay, now,
Then, by the way, my children, they rarely get sick. Nursing for me is one of the escape. Just I hold her, and it feels almost sometimes selfish. I have my time with her, and I nurse her, and as I watch her, I feel so pampered and relaxed with her. I think it's divine and blessing.
The miracle of breastfeeding continues to work for a lifetime, and WIC is always there to help. Don't miss out on what thousands of other WIC moms just like you have experienced. Breastfeeding, it works, with a little loving support.